do it. How's that now, guys? Can we get a thumbs up if you can hear us now? I believe I just fixed the issue. Just maybe a thumbs up if you can hear us all right. Also, if you can hear us, go ahead and let us know where you're watching from and what the weather's like in your neighborhood as we just make sure that you guys can hear us. Okay, perfect.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Getting thumbs up.
Sorry about those technical difficulties, guys. We just had a button on our end that we forgot to push. You know, mistakes happen. It's been a long day for us.
Right.
We didn't say too much. What we were really saying is that we have a new tornado watch that's been issued that goes until 2 a.m. You can see part of that behind us. It includes most of our viewing area. And we do have concerns about this second line that's coming our way because we had the sun come out earlier. That's allowed time for the atmosphere to recharge, and that's also potentially going to result in some stronger storms. And the line that is coming our way is fairly nasty. Unfortunately, we already had one person die in the metro because of a fallen tree, and we certainly don't want to see any more injuries or deaths.
And another aspect to that is that this is going to be at night, which makes it even more particularly dangerous because you can't really see what's going on outside. A lot of times folks are sleeping around 11 o'clock midnight, and that's thankfully when we expect it to begin working its way off to the east of 65, which as it continues to push off to the east should begin to lose strength. But I do think that our westernmost counties have that greatest threat of seeing these storms become severe and even tornadic.
So let's go ahead and look at some of our graphics out here. So what we're looking at now is our current alerts. Everything that's in that pink shade is a tornado watch, again, that goes until 2 a.m. Our far three northern counties, Lawrence, Jennings, and Jackson counties, are under that severe thunderstorm watch. And then our entire viewing area underneath that pink and that yellow is under a flood watch until tomorrow morning because we could see some very heavy rainfall, and given how much rain that we have seen recently, it's not going to take a lot for us to get potential flooding for us. So as we continue to look ahead here, what we'll do is check out our severe weather outlook. Not much has changed in that regard. We're still under risk level 3 out of 5. And the biggest threats that we'll be facing tonight include damaging winds. Straight line winds will be our largest concern here. And
we saw just how powerful the wind was earlier with the storms. Lots of tree damage, lots of power outages, lots of folks still at this hour are without power. So if you do still have electricity in your house, go ahead and charge up your phone so that you can receive the alert if watch or warning is issued in your neighborhood.
And those same straight line winds earlier, as you mentioned, did blow down a lot of trees, caused a lot of those power outages, but we will be streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, our WHAS 11 app as well if it's needed. So let's go ahead and look at our Max HD radar. You can see we do have some new storms that are starting to fire up, and our computer models, Christina, have actually done a very good job depicting exactly this situation at this exact time. We don't have anything severe at the moment, just some pop-up downpours near Crawford County there in, with English, southern Orange County, south of Paoli, and near Jasper County there in Du Bois as well.
But check out to our west, and that's again a little bit of a taste of what's to come. We have several tornado warnings just off to the east of St. Louis. Also a tornado warning over Paducah. Paducah has been getting slammed by these two recent events that we've had. Looks like there's quite a bit of a hail core on that storm over Paducah.
And a lot of lightning with this activity as well. These are very electric storms, very electrically charged. So in addition to those gusty winds, we're probably going to have quite a bit of thunder with these storms as well. Looking at some of the comments that we have in here, Jacqueline in Henryville says cloudy with off and on sprinkles. Josh says it's cloudy where he is in downtown Louisville and a little bit windy. Missy telling us in Westport Road near the Goose Creek area in the east end that it's truly the calm before the storm, and that is an apt description.
Yeah, I was telling Alden, it was just kind of a eerie feeling when you step outside. You feel the moisture, like the soupiness that's in the air. There's a little bit of wind ahead of the storms, and you see those peaks of sunshine. As we talk about, we don't like to see sunshine before this sort of event.
And as we continue to track that line, Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine is going to be coming in and joining us later tonight as well. So we'll have Ben here, myself, and Christina will all be tracking this, so you can join us live on air. And again, on our social medias, Facebook, YouTube will be streaming live, the WHAS 11 app, and on our free WHAS 11 Plus channel as well. But
we do make it easy for you, at least accessible.
But our big thing is that we would encourage you, if you do have power currently, get your devices charged, because we had over 60,000 power outages in the metro earlier this afternoon from that initial line. And some folks might not get power back tonight. We still have tens of thousands of people that don't have electricity at the moment. So that's why we keep reiterating that. And it's important to have a way to get those alerts to your phone. If you do happen to go to bed early, I would leave your phone on ring. So if there is a tornado warning, somebody can call you and it'll wake you up. If you have a NOAA weather radio, that's a great way to get alerts to wake you up, especially at night. Those things are pretty loud.
Yeah, just make sure that you're putting fresh new batteries in it. I recommend that every time we have the threat for severe weather, go ahead and just recharge the batteries or put brand new ones in, because that's the last thing that you would want, is thinking you're prepared. You have the weather radio right next to your bed and it doesn't go off because the batteries are dead.
And we're not trying to hype things up here either. We just want you to be informed. We want you to be ready, because we already had that first round go through, and that was almost a little bit of an appetizer. We've always been more concerned about the second line that's going to be coming in later tonight. So that's what our primary concern is going to be. And since it is coming in at night too, that's another reason to be extra cautious and to have those ways of getting alerts to your phone.
So what we had been talking about with this second round, we do think this has more of a potential to become tornadic as compared to earlier today when we just had the straight line winds that came through. Really the entire area was affected by this. I know when I drove to go home between the two rounds, trees down all over the road, especially downtown. We saw an RV flipped over.
And into somebody's house, no less. It was
Right.
blown into their house. A lot of very old trees were uprooted and blown over from those strong winds. And because the ground is so saturated, those the root system of some of those trees are relatively weak now because of all of that rain. So it doesn't take much wind to blow them over. Let's go back to our graphics here, and we'll check out our Futurecast to get an idea of the timing of this. So it's currently 8:21. This is Futurecast, which looks pretty close to our actual radar. It's overdone things just a little bit, but not too bad. As we continue forward here through tonight, by 8:30, still seeing some of those storms begin to fire up. By 10 o'clock is when we think that line will start to make it into our western counties west of I-65. We could see some stuff in the leading edge ahead of that main line at 2, excuse me. And then as we head deeper into the night, by 12 to 12:30, we think a lot of this activity is going to be out of here. So really, we just have to make it to around 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. and then things should start to quiet down. That tornado watch will hopefully be allowed to be expired or canceled early, and then we can all sleep a little bit easier tonight, and we'll have some much, much nicer weather for Memorial Day tomorrow, which has a very low rain chance right now. But unfortunately, some of us might have to spend our Memorial Day cleaning up some of the debris.
And one positive thing here, though, it is going to be a pretty quick moving storm. So we're not talking hours upon hours of having that severe thunderstorm or tornado threat. It's going to be in and out of here. And if we do start getting those warnings popping off, we will be able to give you the all clear. Of course, we'll be on TV, we'll be on all of the apps as well. And not only tell you when the threat is coming to your neighborhood, but we'll be able to tell you when you have the all clear. So you can perhaps get out of your safe spot and you can rest peacefully here. But the main time frame, I'd say from now until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, we all need to be staying weather aware and making sure that we have those several ways to receive the warning, since all of us are under some type of alert, whether it be the tornado watch that we're seeing, the severe thunderstorm watch, or the flood watch. A lot of times people don't take the flood watches seriously, Alden.
Yeah, turn around, don't drown. That's the old idiom when it comes to coming up to flooded areas where you don't know how deep that water is. The current can be moving faster under the water sometimes
Especially when
too.
it's dark out.
Yeah, you know, it only takes 6 inches of water to wipe an adult off of their feet. 6 inches of water might not sound like a lot, but when it's moving, water is powerful. It's a very powerful and underappreciated element sometimes.
Yeah, and dangerous. You never know what may have fallen in that water either. So say the power line could be down in there.
And LG&E is asking us to remind people, if you do come across the down power line, it could be live. don't try to go over it, just avoid it and find another route.
Always assume
Yes.
that it's a live wire.
Looking at some of your comments in here, Josh saying he really hopes and prays when it gets here that it loses its punch. There is a chance that it could weaken some just because it's getting here so late, and since it would be arriving at night, it doesn't have as much of that energy to feed off of. We did have some of those earlier storms, so the atmosphere has been a little worked over, as we call it. But since the sun came out, that also allowed some of that storm fuel to be replenished as well, that it will still have access to.
Right, it's kind of just recharged. Now, all of that being said, I still think no matter where you're at here in the viewing area, I'd go ahead and just, I don't want to say prepare for the worst, but because of course we want to we want to hope for the best, but it's best to be prepared.
Looking at some of your other comments here, what's going on with the storms tonight? What's the update? When will it hit Memphis? So let's go back to our futurecast here, and we'll time this out again. Well, first I want to show you where the storms are currently. So we'll go back to radar really quickly. They're currently back to our west in central Illinois. We have a few storms that are firing up ahead of that main line. Those could be coming somewhat strong as well as they continue to develop and push off to the east. But as we come back and look at Futurecast, it's overdoing things just a little bit at the moment. We don't have much of that activity there in Kentucky right now. But as we head deeper into the night, by 10 o'clock, we should see that main line begin to push into our western counties. So from Seymour, Bedford, Paoli, entering into Scottsburg, back towards English in Crawford County, towards Cordon, Tell City, making its way into Brandenburg and also Breckinridge County. By around 10 o'clock, maybe seeing some stuff ahead of that line.
Hopefully that answers your questions. Amy asked about Memphis, and then Major asked about Scottsburg. So we're thinking around 10, 11 o'clock tonight when it's going to be in your neck of the woods.
And everything should hopefully be out of here by 12 to 1 o'clock. So still late, but not as late as it could be. We obviously have seen some much later events that go until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And thankfully, this is not looking like one of those situations.
Right, very fast moving, but could still be a heavy hitter, so to speak, and could pack a punch in that short amount of time that it is moving through the area. So we're just taking a look at your guys' comments. Hopefully we're able to kind of answer them as we go along.
As for Shepherdsville, Summer asking what about Shepherdsville? Probably around that 10 to 11 o'clock time frame is when we expect things to be moving through kind of the core of our area right there along that I-65 corridor before it begins to push out of here. Jerry telling us that power is still out in the Hurstbourne Parkway area in Plainview. And yeah, unfortunately, some of us might not get power back tonight. That's why we keep reiterating to go ahead and charge your electronic devices if you can, so you can at least have a way to get those alerts to your phone and have a way to watch us for an extended period of time if you need to.
Yeah, it obviously hasn't been ideal conditions for repair through the course of this afternoon, especially with this next round approaching us. But we know that they're going to work as hard as they can and as safely as they can without jeopardizing their safety, as well as they're trying to get that back up. So we have questions about Washington County. Are we talking Indiana or Kentucky?
Well, if we're talking about Washington County, Indiana, probably between around 10 to 11 o'clock-ish. If you're Washington County, Kentucky, then probably between 11 p.m. and midnight. So Washington County, Kentucky will be one of the last locations that see this line. Missy was asking, what does the instability level look like after getting the sun? Well, we did see our storm fuel, as we call it. Technically, it's called CAPE, if you want a little science lesson.
Convective available potential
energy. That's why we just call it storm fuel.
We're nerdy.
The sunshine did help replenish some of that fuel. It's not as high as it is off to our west, where they have a lot more to work with because they were sunnier for much longer. The earlier storms did do us some favors by keeping us cloudy for just a little bit, so there's not as much fuel, but they still have enough, and they're still going to be packing a punch even as they roll through here.
Bullitt County, I'd say probably the same, around the same time as what we're going to see for you folks that we just answered in southern Indiana, between 10, 11 o'clock this evening. Again, our weather models have been very consistent with this timing. Not a whole lot has changed from this forecast, from previous forecasts, I should say. So here's another depiction. This is tonight at 10:30, showing you on Futurecast that line pushing through our westernmost counties. From Bedford down to Tell City, again around 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight, and then quickly going to continue to push on off to the east. If Alden, we can move it forward maybe just a little bit more as it moves over 65 there. So you can see it very quick moving in and out, probably in an hour or so out of your county. And then it's largely out of here by 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So yes, not an ideal situation by any stretch, but at least it's not going to linger for several hours across the area.
We have a couple of comments in here asking about supercells ahead of the main line and how those can be stronger and potentially more tornadic. Let's go ahead and look at that because that is a good point. When you have these isolated storms like back towards Paducah and Evansville, because they're more isolated, they have a lot more of that storm fuel that they can feed off of. They're not having to share it with any of like the larger line as it congeals into that main line. So yes, when you do have storms ahead of a main line like that, they can often be more severe, they can be a lot stronger, and they do also have a greater potential of it becoming tornadic. That's why we see a couple of those tornado warnings there near Morganfield, Kentucky, and approaching Eddyville, Kentucky as well to the east of Paducah at the moment. But we even if we still have that big main line right here, Christina, you know, there's a tornado warning in Salem, Illinois, and Lone Grove, Illinois. So we can get spin-ups along that leading edge that can result in some of those potential tornadic vortices as well.
And we're not saying that there's absolutely 100% going to be tornado warnings, that there's going to be tornadoes. However, these storms do have a history of producing a whole lot of rotation, quite a bit of hail as well, especially with that storm that we're watching over in Paducah. And then here soon enough, you're going to be able to see the sky absolutely lit up with all of that electricity. As you can see on Max HD radar, it is incredibly electric, whole lot of lightning history with these storms.
So we'll go through Futurecast one more time here and then we'll sign off and continue to do some analysis here. So what we're looking at for the timing here of around 10:30 if you live near Bedford, Seymour, Paoli, Scottsburg, down through English, Corydon, Tell City, Brandenburg, potentially also seeing that main line moving in by that time. Could see some stuff ahead of that in Bardstown, in Taylorsville, E-Town as well, including Litchfield, Shepherdsville, pushing it further eastward over the next hour or so, and then by midnight or 12:30, between 12 and 1, we should begin to see a lot of that activity exit our area and begin to head towards the I-75 corridor, and then we'll be a lot quieter before the rest of the night. Will be a lot quieter for the rest of the night. So we could still see that line weaken just a little bit. It is currently, though, very strong, and that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on here over the course of tonight. And if we do need to break into programming, of course, we will.
Right, and I know I mentioned this earlier, but it's important also that we do like to give the all clear to folks so that they can get out of their safe spot and they can rest peacefully knowing that that severe weather threat is over with. And as we also mentioned, Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine's going to be coming in. We're going to work around the clock until this whole entire thing is out of here. So we're here for you. We make it very accessible as well to see the watches and warnings and where exactly they're at.
That's all we have for right now. So thank you guys very much for watching. And again, you can download our free WHAS 11 app. Watch us live on Facebook, YouTube, the app, or WHAS 11 Plus on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and those are all going to be ways that you can get access to our stream. So we'll leave you with radar here, and for now, we'll talk to you later. And hopefully we won't have to do too much storm coverage tonight, but we'll be here if we need to.
Thanks for watching.